And in just a moment, we're going to begin our processional. It's kind of like a wedding where, yes, most of you are already cued in. You're going to have to turn your necks to the back of the sanctuary if you're wanting to see. And I'm going to welcome first the practitioners of our host center. That would be Seaside Center for Spiritual Living, with Linda Light as light bearer for our ceremony today. Next, please welcome Linda Watson, Practitioner Emeritus, Chair of the Practitioner Council. Oh wait, I'm forgetting something. Okay. Next, please welcome the licensed practitioners of the Centers for Spiritual Living. We got a strong prac corps, don't we? Look at this. Next, please welcome the graduating practitioners of the Centers for Spiritual Living. Beginning with, they've come a long way. This first group, the Center for Spiritual Living in Carlsbad, California. I meant emotionally and mentally and etherically, they've come a long way. What did you think I meant? And now two foundational pillars, Founders Church of Religious Science. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Harmony Center for Spiritual Living. And as you can see, they are whole, purple, and complete. Playing it straight, it's the Hemet Center for Spiritual Living. And next, it is, can you hear me? More sound? Wanting sound. There, yeah, keep coming. There we are. Okay, so next, I am noticing it is all about the Om Center for Spiritual Living. And now I'm proud to welcome the largest online practitioner class. That would be the class of 2014. 12 members of the online practitioner class of 2014. From the Inland Empire, the Riverside Community Center for Spiritual Living. Followed by the Seal Beach Center for Spiritual Living. Next, we are celebrating the Universal Spirit Center. And now I'd like to introduce the ministerial students from the Holmes Institute School of Spiritual Leadership. Here they are. Keeping in sway with the choir, I'd like to now introduce the ministers of the Centers for Spiritual Living, beginning with Reverend Robert Brzezinski, Spiritual Director, Center for Spiritual Living in Boulder. Reverend Dr. Christina Tillotson, Distance Education, Centers for Spiritual Living, School of Spiritual Leadership. She is the Dean. Next, Reverend Connie Leonard, Staff Minister, Center for Spiritual Living in Temecula Valley. Please welcome Reverend Sharon Hudson, Assistant Minister, Om Center for Spiritual Living. Okay. I've gotten this word from God. It is the amazing Reverend Suzette Wee Hunt, Senior Minister, also from the Om Center for Spiritual Living. Please welcome Reverend Sam Flynn, Staff Minister, Vision, a Center for Spiritual Living. Reverend Elizabeth O'Day, on sabbatical in Laguna Woods, California. Please welcome Reverend Dr. Clancy Blakemore, Assistant Minister, Center for Spiritual Living, Visalia Spiritual Awareness Center. Reverend Lori Edwards, Chaplain Minister, Center for Spiritual Living in Saskatoon, Canada. I was wondering if I could pronounce that too when she looked at me like that, like, oh, I know that province. Reverend Debbie O'Donnell, Senior Spiritual Living, Carlsbad Center. Here's a real card, Reverend Ron Card, Staff Minister, also from Carlsbad Center for Spiritual Living. Reverend Catherine Bonin, Assistant Minister, Center for Spiritual Living in Carlsbad. Reverend Diane Naki, Senior Minister, Center for Spiritual Living, Hemet, California. Reverend Terry Turner, Assistant Minister, Yucca Valley Center for Spiritual Living. Reverend Gene Phillips, Staff Minister, Vision Center for Spiritual Living. Never seen this lady before in my life. Oh yeah, except this morning. Reverend Lori Sheets, Youth and Family Minister, Seaside Center for Spiritual Living. Reverend Dr. Kristen Hawkins, Founding Minister, Namaste Center for Spiritual Living. Reverend Kimberly Hawkins, Staff Minister, Namaste Center for Spiritual Living. That would be in Long Beach, California. Adding to the bunch, Reverend James Peak, an Associate Minister with Namaste. Reverend Barbara Novak, in transition. Wow, we don't know about that. God knows, here she is. Reverend Jan Ewing, Chaplain, Kansas City, Missouri. Center for Spiritual Living. Please welcome back Reverend Karen Russo, Spiritual Leader of the Money Keys Global Ministry. Reverend Lee McNeil Nash, Senior Minister, Riverside Community Center for Spiritual Living. And here we are with Reverend Margie Clark, Minister Emeritus, Seal Beach Center for Spiritual Living. Reverend Catherine McDowell, Founding Minister, East Valley Center for Spiritual Living. That would be in Mesa, Arizona. Please welcome Reverend John Poleski, Senior Minister, San Diego Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of downtown. Reverend Dr. Constance Cook-Core, Staff Minister, San Diego Center for Spiritual Living, right there in the heart of downtown. In perfect flow and harmony is Reverend Sean Kindorf, Senior Minister, Harmony Center for Spiritual Living in Whittier, California. Reverend Dr. Moira Fox, Senior Minister and Director, Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living. Reverend Laura Shackelford, Assistant Minister, Center for Spiritual Living in the nice and cool Palm Desert. Reverend Jennifer Spear, Senior Minister, Living Beyond Limits in Lakewood, California. Reverend Dr. Peggy Price, Senior Emeritus, Seal Beach Center for Spiritual Living. Reverend Tracy Earlywine, Senior Minister, Huntington Beach Church of Center for Spiritual Living. Giving us the retired aspect of life, Reverend Sandy Summers. From Huntington Beach Church Centers for Spiritual Living, Susanna Baer, Youth and Family Minister. You may recognize this next guest, Reverend Dr. Alice Bandy, Spiritual Director, The Heart of Teaching, right here in Encinitas. Reverend Guy Williams, Spiritual Director, Hilltop Center for Spiritual Living in Fallbrook, California, and Corazon Global, Tijuana, Mexico. Next, please welcome Reverend Jerry Hobby, Assistant Minister, Riverside Community Center for Spiritual Living. Josh Reeves, Senior Minister, Seal Beach Center for Spiritual Living. Reverend Stephen Rambo, Assistant Minister, Founders Church of Religious Science. Reverend Dr. Roger Julian, Retired Minister in Spirit Center for Spiritual Living in Mission Viejo, California. Reverend Kevin Busey, founding minister, Universal Spirit Center. Please welcome back Reverend Catherine Economo, senior minister, Center for Spiritual Living, Temecula Valley. Reverend Dr. Ken Gordon, spiritual leader, Center for Spiritual Living, Golden, Colorado, and also in British Columbia. Reverend Dr. Kathy Hearn, the Dean, the School of Spiritual Leadership, right here, Seaside Center for Spiritual Living. And Reverend Dr. Christian Sorensen, Director, School of Spiritual Leadership, and Spiritual Leader right here at Seaside. Also like to acknowledge the ministerial graduates of the Centers for Spiritual Living. This would be Debbie McDonald, Seaside Center for Spiritual Living. From Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living, Myrna Hurst. Jill Clements, New Vision Center for Spiritual Living. And Trisha Burson Johnson, Universal Spirit Center. Let's give a round of applause to everyone who has processed today.
Your community choir, made up of all the choirs in the Southern California area. You guys have sounded fabulous. Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, welcome to Seaside, a spiritual nexus inspiring us to live our dreams and to live our divinities, and truly a blessing to come together to celebrate what has been taking place within our Southwest neighborhood over the last year. And so today it is Seaside's honor to come together and commence together for the 14th year in a row. And it is exciting, to say the least. And what has been exciting in the 14 years here are who has been the dean of the School of Ministry over those years. First, it was Dr. Francione, who was the first dean down in this area. And then after Dr. Francione, we had Dr. Alice Bandy take the reins and take things to a whole new level with her creativity. And then we had the wonderful Reverend Catherine Economo for the last 7 years leading this wonderful School of Ministry. And then to carry this transference of wisdom to the wonderful students coming through is truly a giant within our movement, to carry the lineage of excellence in terms of sharing the wisdom and the spiritual knowledge that has been passed forth through from the days of Ernest Holmes. Our wonderful new dean of our School of Ministry here is a minister who started with an idea in San Diego and showed us how you can take it from the conception in heart and soul to 1,000 people on a Sunday. And where do you go from that? But to be the spiritual community leader of the whole movement for a decade. And what is next? But to take the leadership and the reins of the wonderful School of Ministry here in the San Diego area. But the amazing part of this wonderful expression of life is she is the one who actually brought the school to San Diego 15 years ago. So please join me in a welcoming home the dean of the School of Ministry in San Diego and their first director, that is the Reverend Dr. Kathy Hearn.
Thank you so much. I always consider this a behind-the-scenes role, but thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Christian. He always makes me feel so good in his introductions. It is such a great joy to welcome all of you here today. What a pleasure it is to have you here at Seaside. And we're here for a joyous celebration of consciousness and accomplishment, yes? Yes. All of us at Seaside and all of our graduates are so very grateful that you have chosen to be here today, because it means the world for you to come and witness this powerful crossing of a threshold and taking of this step for both our practitioner graduates and our ministerial graduates. It means everything to them that you are here, and to me as well. We're here today to recognize and honor the attainment of graduation for our new practitioners and ministers. And we are welcoming new practitioners from 10 Southern California centers, along with our online practitioner class of 2014 that has graduates from Northern California and from 5 other states. So let's acknowledge that whole group right there. And of course, we are celebrating 4 new ministerial graduates right here from the San Diego Regional Center, School of Spiritual Leadership. For music today, we have the most beautiful presence and voice with us, Margaret Owens. So we're so glad she's here with us. There she is. Okay. And also, one of our ministerial students is adding her beauty, her presence, and her voice today, and that's Carol Lotz. Let's acknowledge her. There she is. We have our most wonderful San Diego Community Choir. You guys are hot. Under the direction of Reverend Fran and all of her friends. Let's acknowledge the choir. And a very special guest is here with us today. You've heard him introduced already, but I'll do it again. He is the spiritual leader for Centers for Spiritual Living. He comes to us from Kelowna, BC, British Columbia, and the world. He travels extensively. I consider it a great favor and honor that he was able to come to our graduation. So let us welcome Dr. Ken Gordon. And you've had a chance to acknowledge her already, but let's do it again. The beloved Reverend Catherine Economo. So this is a powerful day of celebration, and we're going to begin, as we do always, with prayer. And so in just a second, I'm going to invite Reverend Kevin Busey up. He is from the Universal Spirit Center here in San Diego. And that will be followed by our choir singing a fabulous song, with Reverend Fran accompanying and also soloing, and the choir is led by Kathy Harada. And then Dr. Roger Julien and Reverend Stephen Rambo will come forward to do the Declaration of Principles and the Global Vision. Then we're going to have an honoring and recognition by Reverend Josh Reeves, and then music from Margaret Owens. So that's the flow of the beginning. And here we go, Reverend Kevin.
Good evening. So first, I want to acknowledge and thank our graduates today for all that it's taken for you to get to this threshold. Secondly, I'd like to say to you to see this ceremony today as an opportunity for you to make a public statement for your surrender to the divine, to just allow your hearts to open. And third, if I can give some advice, although no one's asked me, but that doesn't stop me, is to daily surrender to the divine presence, above and beyond any other expectations. To daily come to a place within your own awareness where you connect deeply with that which has called you here today. So thank you for your yes. So let's pray. I invite you to just take a deep breath right into your heart. So we connect now with the divine breath, with the one breath, with God itself, with that which beats our hearts and breathes our breath. So let's join together in knowing that this graduation ceremony is really a divine experience in each of our hearts for our own yeses to that which is infinite and unconditional, and dwells within each one of us. And so we join together in knowing for each of us and for our graduates a deeper experience of the divine because we come together to celebrate that. And join with me in knowing that this graduation ceremony begins and ends in the same day. And so it is.
Might seem crazy, but I'm about to say, sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm left alone if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm left alone if you feel like a happiness is the truth. Because I'm left alone if you know what a happiness is to you. Left alone if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news talking this and that. Give me all you got, don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Come along if you feel like a room without a roof. Come along if you feel like a happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what a happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do. Bring me down, I can't run, don't bring me down. Love is too high, don't bring me down. I can't run, don't bring me down. I said, hey, don't bring me down, I won't run. Don't bring me down, your love is too high. Don't bring me down, I can't run. Don't bring me down because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like a happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what a happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you wanna do. All right.
He wanted to do that.
For those of you that are not familiar with it, the Declaration of Principles was first formulated by our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, many years ago. And then about 15 years ago, we expanded it upon the realization that this movement is a world citizen. And so this is what is our Declaration of Principles.
I'm just so thrilled to be up here with Dr. Roger. And to be back, right? A year ago, I was right there. Feels great, doesn't it? Are you ready? So, what do we believe in? We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God.
We know that there is one life, everywhere expressing its infinite nature, and that this life is called many things: universal intelligence, beauty, infinite abundance, peace, spirit, joy, creativity, or simply God.
We believe in the incarnation of Spirit in everyone, and that all people are incarnations of the one Spirit.
We envision all people, all beings, and all life as expressions of God. We demonstrate the oneness of Spirit in everything that we do, knowing that this oneness is inclusive of race, age, ethnicity, culture, history, religion, political affiliation, experience, gender, and sexual orientation.
We believe in the eternality and the immortality and the continuity of the individual soul, forever and ever expanding.
We envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought, a world where each and every person discovers his or her own personal power and ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone.
We believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of heaven.
We see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with the highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other. A world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action.
We believe the ultimate goal of life is to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all.
We envision a world where each and every person has enough food, a home, and a sense of belonging. A world of peace and harmony, enfranchisement and justice. We envision a worldwide culture in which forgiveness, whether for errors, injustices, or debts, is the norm.
We believe in the unity of all life and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God.
We envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. We envision a world in which resources are valued, cared for, and grown, and where there is generous and continuous sharing of these resources.
We believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence.
We envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. We are all in this life together, and we include everyone in our vision of a peaceful, loving world.
We believe in the direct revelation of truth through the intuitive and spiritual nature of the individual, and that any person may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God.
We stand together in a shared commitment and devotion to our spiritual principles, practices, and values. Through our personal lives and organizational culture, Centers for Spiritual Living is in service to all of life through sustaining a consciousness of ever unfolding love, peace, and abundance.
We believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it.
We envision a world which has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through the resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics.
We believe in the healing of the sick through the power of this mind. We believe in the control of conditions. I don't know about you, but I wanted to hear the baby talk. It works in my condition through the power of this mind.
We teach spiritual solutions and practices to address the everyday challenges of life. We strive to assist individuals in their own evolutionary and awakening process, encouraging all of our members to live courageous, fearless lives and to be passionate about life and its possibilities.
We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all.
We are a community empowered with the realization of unity and wholeness, from which flows the ultimate healing power of forgiveness and love. We are known for the love we share throughout our community and the world.
We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny.
For we understand that the life of all is God.
Thank you, Reverend Dr. Christian and Seaside Center for Spiritual Living for 15 years creating this space for us to celebrate education, such an important part of our movement. And as we know, if you don't celebrate it, you miss it, right? So I'm so glad that we can do this, and it's so important that there's more than just graduates to celebrate here today. So we want to honor all of the teachers, first of all, who've been a part of the practitioner and ministerial education. Will all the teachers, teaching assistants, please stand so that we can give you an applause and honor you? So we want to honor all of the Science and Mind students. So if you finish, please hold your applause for now. If you've taken the Foundations or Beyond Limits this year, will you stand up? Oh, there's got to be more. There you are. Yeah, and if you've taken Essential or Earnest, Treatment and Meditation, or Power of Your Word, would you please stand up? If you've taken Roots or one of the Troard classes or any of the other accredited classes, will you please stand up? Prac students don't stand yet. And if you just wrapped up your Prac 1 and you're looking forward to seeing us up on stage next year, will you stand up? Lastly, as everyone who's graduating knows, it takes a big support system to be able to be seen in your spiritual power as well as to see it of others. So we want to honor all the partners, all the family members who have supported these graduates. Will you please stand so we can give you a round of applause? Thank you.
It's a new day, shining so clear. It's a brand new morning, I'm so glad you're here. fear, feel your breath inside me and your power too. It's a sacred blessing to be living you. And I ask my eyes are clear that they may see your face in everything, and that my arms remain wide open to receive and give the joy you bring. I pray my heart will sing a song of happiness so true, and that my footsteps only lead me deeper into you. This is my song for a new day. This is my plan for a new way. I have a hand in what will be, 'cause you can only do for me what you can do through me. Walking sure and steady down this brand new road with a full heart and a lighter load. Got the friends you gave me to enjoy the ride, packing peace and clarity on either side, so that the storms ahead, they will be greeted with a sense of trust, and that the winds of change will bring my highest good. I know they must. Remembering that you are one within me here and now, proclaiming that I know my needs are always met somehow. This is my song for a new day. This is my plan for a new way. I have a hand in what will be, 'cause you can only do for me what you can do. And I feel an opening, like the parting of the sea, or the budding of a rose who understands it's time to grow. I feel a rumbling as the joy from deep within me springs, and I hear a joyful sound as your song of love from me abounds. This is my song for a new day. This is my plan for a new way. I have a hand in what will be, 'cause you can only do for me what you can do through me. This is my song for a new day. This is my plan for a new way. I have a hand in what will be, 'cause you can only do for me what you can do through me. Let it go and let it flow through me. Let it flow through me.
Thank you so much, Margaret. And thank you, Reverend Josh, and Dr. Roger, and Reverend Steve, and Reverend Kevin. It is a delight to open up our practitioner ceremony, and we're here to honor and recognize our new class of spiritual practitioners. The licensed practitioners have a very important role and place in our spiritual organization. Practitioners are trained to know the spiritual truth of wholeness in all people, regardless of appearance, of circumstance, or situation. And by knowing that and knowing it profoundly, they actually help bring that wholeness forward into expression in the lives of those whom they serve. The call to be a practitioner is first and foremost a commitment to putting spiritual principle into practice in every area of life. All of the ministers within our organization think of themselves as practitioners first, for indeed they were practitioners first. And it is the practitioner consciousness that is the foundation of all the spiritual work that we do in our organization. And so it is with great love and appreciation that we honor and celebrate our students who have studied so well the art and the craft of the practitioner. They have, I imagine, gone through many personal transformations, yes, on this path? And they've done lots of serving in their communities, yes? And so they are here before you today to graduate from their training, and this is a wonderful thing. And to articulate the call to practitioner, we have here someone who is a dear colleague and friend of mine, as well as many other people, and she is also the chair of the Practitioner Council for Centers for Spiritual Living, and that is Linda Watson, licensed practitioner. Linda, will you come forward?
Good afternoon. Dr. Christian, where's Dr. Christian? What just a blessing to be in your community. I'm so filled up from being in the service this morning, and just love you, love your community, everything that it stands for. Thank you for being such amazing hosts for this beautiful ceremony. So Dr. Christian, Dr. Ken, Dr. Kathy, Catherine, beloved ministers, some of you who have just been so dear and important to me on my journey, and friends and family, and especially our beloved practitioners. I'm just looking at you, fanning yourselves. Just think if you were wearing one of those robes, you'd be even hotter. So I remember sitting in a similar place where you are 25 years ago at Founders Church. Very auspicious place to be for graduation, in a place where the words of Ernest Holmes reverberate in the ethers there. The first class of practitioners from Agape, Reverend Michael and Reverend Nirvana's guinea pigs, as they used to call us. And I remember what you're probably feeling now. Anticipation, excitement, joy, a little bit of relief, like it's OVER, and of course, this sense of being a horse at the gate, ready to launch into the world, into what you were born to do. This is you, and this is me, and this is all of us who are on this path. I want to take a moment just to acknowledge our teachers. And rather than think of us standing on their shoulders, just thinking of the love that we carry in our hearts for them, many of you, and just taking a moment just to bring those people to mind, those people who've just been there with us, been in Darshan with us, and that deep singing with us, called us forward. I remember the first time that I was with my teacher, Reverend Michael, and he says, "You're already a practitioner, aren't you?" And I said, "No, how could you even imagine that? I haven't even taken my first Science of Mind course yet, or maybe just started." And just those who see us and call that forth in us, those are the people that remain in our hearts forever, and we remain in theirs. That's the good news and the bad news, right? Okay. I had the blessing of spending the last 2 days at the beautiful Quest Haven retreat down the road here with the online practitioner students. My second year as the guest facilitator. And over the course of the weekend, I was incredibly inspired by what these particular students have done in order to become practitioners, have become masters of cyberspace, no less, and everything that it took to be there. And that's true of all practitioners, whether you were online or wherever you were. It takes a lot. It's a long journey of commitment and dedication. And as deep as they are, they're full of fun, too. And I have a picture to prove it of them twerking at the party last night, okay? Just saying. All right. I won't say who, but his name starts with a T, okay? And I want to take a moment to pay tribute to the person who is responsible for their being online practitioners, the Reverend Dr. Christina Tillotson, and let me tell you why. In the last 10 years, 82 online practitioners in 6 countries, and bringing practitioner training to those who wouldn't have otherwise had access to practitioner training. So I just want to send love and appreciation to Dr. Christina. We talked this weekend about being a good receiver, so good for you, Christina. Just drink it in. When the great psychologist Dr. Carl Jung was asked if he thought that we, the human race, would make it, he repeatedly responded with the refrain, "If enough of us do our inner work." And that is indeed what these individuals have done. They've done their inner work, their human homework. As we have come to discover, this isn't an easy path, but it is rich and it's deep. And it's the only one we find once we're on that we could possibly be on. Yes? Yes. And most of us have come to understand what Sri Ramana Maharishi said. Your own self-realization is the greatest service you can render to the world. Somewhere along the way, we got that news flash. And it can be a challenging path, and only the really certain must be on it, as the wonderful Joel Goldsmith describes in his book, The Art of Spiritual Healing. A great responsibility rests upon those who go into the spiritual healing ministry, and of them is demanded the highest understanding. They will bring the richest blessings to mankind, but they will have heaped upon them all the vilification that the human world can hurl at them. No one should go into this spiritual ministry unless God takes him by the nape of the neck and pushes him into it. And even then, if he can resist the call, he should do so. I bet you all tried. The spiritual ministry is not his place. It is no place for anyone unless that inner something insists there is just no other way. This is our story. This is our story. All the spiritual courage a person can muster is required to withstand the antagonism this world has for truth and toward those who hold fast to truth. It does not lie within anyone's capacity as a human being to obey a spiritual call, except in proportion. Is that me? What am I doing? Farther back, okay. It does not lie within anyone's capacity as a human being to obey a spiritual call, except in proportion as the grace of God is laid upon him, because only then can he have that greater light which is necessary. He's talking about you. I stand before you today as one who understands this call and understands this journey, as one who took the road less traveled, a different fork in the road than my Jewish parents would have hoped. Why can't you just get bas mitzvahed and go to Hebrew school and be happy? And how can you explain when something else calls that you don't even know what it is that's calling you, but you know you have to say yes? I stand before you as one who understands the explanation of theologian Frederick Buechner, who says vocation is where your deep gladness meets the world's deep need. That's it. That's what we felt inside when we said yes to answering this call. I remember meeting Vitura Papke when I was involved in Asilomar with our wonderful friend Pat King, directing the children's program. And Asilomar is why I know so many of you, because many of you were in our musical productions wearing ridiculous costumes over those years. And I remember she got Vitura Papke to come up on stage and do a rap. Was anybody there? Does anybody remember that? Okay. And there was Vitura doing a rap. Pat dressed her up in, whatever kind of clothes they were. And I thought, oh my God, this is Ernest Holmes' practitioner, as deep as they get, as amazing. And here she is, just up for anything. And I remember speaking to her afterwards, and you remember her? She was just leaning over. She said, honey, God is everywhere, in everything. Anything I do or say is for God's glory. And I just never forgot how someone that I revered in that way was just having as much fun as she could possibly have at the same time. And I'm still as thrilled after all these years to sit before a client. I find myself speeding on the freeway sometimes to my next session after 25 years, like, whoa, is it still, I get paid to do this? I get to make my living. I call this my vocation, to be a beneficial presence, to be a healing presence. Every day I wake up in gratitude, just as I know you do and you will. There are those that are waiting for you along your path, those that are seeking to make sense out of chaos in their life, those that are seeking shelter of your healing presence, in your healing presence, those that are seeking to belong, those that are seeking meaning and purpose in life. They're waiting for you. And there are those who've already received those blessings as you've been practicing. You'll see many of us who were at the retreat, there's all these purple little yarn around our wrist, and they spent last evening blessing all the teachers and the instructors, doing this incredibly beautiful ceremony that was so rich and beautiful. It said so much about your hearts, and I know that that's the heart of a practitioner that we got to experience. I stand before you as one who understands that it's not always an easy path, but the only one and the most beneficial one that we could possibly think of for what we do with our life and our time and our energy and our resources. So I thank you, practitioners, for answering the call. I thank you for showing up and signing on every night that you were online, every day you drove, wherever you drove to attend your class, every day you didn't feel that well, every day you maybe didn't feel like doing your homework or your thought papers or reading your assignments, but you did it anyway. Or maybe you didn't, I don't know. But anyway, you did what was necessary, and you showing up, right? Showing up is whatever percent, 90% or whatever it is. So I thank you for showing up. And the world thanks you, and all of those who are ready to be blessed by your ministry are thanking you from down the road. I thank you on behalf of all of the 2,643 practitioners, that was the last number I got in some report, of Centers for Spiritual Living practitioners who are waiting for you to join the ranks. So that'll be 2,843 pretty soon, according to Annie Glasgow, because of you. And because that energy and that love and that healing presence is going to go out into the world in just a more expanded way because of you. Because you decided to say yes and you decided to answer the call. So it takes a lot for us to be here. All of those that supported us, all of our babysitters, all of our families, friends, everyone who helped us along the way. And it takes each other, our classmates. So when we rise up, we take each other with us. So I'd like us all to just have that moment together and say with me, I'm rising up, and I'm taking you with me. So turn to someone next to you, please, and just say that. Because, you know, sometimes this path is not one that is on, you know, we don't find a lot of others on it. Sometimes we're the ones in our communities who are the only ones on this path, so we got to be together. So, here we go. A beautiful poem that I have for you from David White, who I feel like says everything that I would want to say as poetic inspiration. So much of how we are of service to the world has to do with how we belong to the world. The ultimate service of human life is a kind of vitality and giftedness that comes out of a true sense of belonging. The universe is holding its breath, waiting for you to take your place. No matter how humble that may be or how small that place may be, there is no other part of creation that can substitute for you belonging to the world. And so I'm so glad we don't have to wait any longer. Blessings on your journey. Love you. Thank you.
Every year we invite our centers who have practitioners who are graduating to come to nominate somebody from their graduating class to represent their church in answering the call. And a solemn drawing is held. And this year, we are proud to welcome Kim Machin from Namaste Center for Spiritual Living and the online practitioner training to answer the call for our graduating practitioners.
Does anyone have a Valium? No? My body is trembling from the inside out. 10% of that is from fear, but 90% is because this work matters. It matters to me, and I know it matters to my classmates, my colleagues, and all of my most important teachers are in this room. This year, through practitioner studies, and last year, my heart was gently, lovingly broken wide open. And these past several years, we've worked really hard to get to where we are today, and I take this honor very seriously. And so I tremble. I tremble with the joy and the love and the power of the divine within me, as me. And when I learned that I was selected to answer this year's call for my practitioner class, my first thought that popped into my head came from something I learned from Reverend Robert this year, early on when I was overwhelmed. And what he said was, God does not call the qualified, God qualifies the called. Is that right? Did I say it right? Okay, phew. And so I had a little sit down with God, which I learned from Joanne Bourgeois, my practitioner one teacher. I sat down with God and I said, God, I got the call, and now let's get with the qualifying. In Creative Mind and Success, it's a really poorly edited book, but it's really quite powerful. Have you read it? Okay. Anyway, this quote, to those who lean on the ever outstretched arm of the infinite, life is big, with limitless possibilities. We must wait and listen and then go about our outer business with an inner conviction that we are being led into a more perfect expression of life. All can do this. And so I lean, and so we lean. As I was preparing to represent my practitioner class, the image of a flower came to mind, and not just any flower, and not this flower, although this is quite beautiful. The image was that flower that grows out of the red rock of Sedona, or out of a sidewalk crack. That flower that somehow found its way to the light when most of us would look at that surrounding as not capable of sustaining or supporting life. And that flower represents each of us through this path. Many of us have had some difficult challenges this year, last year, and yet still we found our way to the light. And here we are. We survived and we have thrived. And we have manifested cars and homes and relationships and handfuls of cash. And we have been supported and loved by our mentors, our teachers, our ministers, our loved ones, our partners, each other. And we stand here today. And this flower represents to me what we went through in Prac 1 was all about learning who we really are and what we believe and how we see this world. And in order to get there to the truth, we had to dig up the roots and we had to touch those really delicate, sensitive, uncomfortable places filled with shame. Do you remember those? And we poked around. And when the curriculum didn't do it, life did, because we made ourselves willing. to let all of it come to the light so that it could be healed. And we noticed our judgments, right? Yes, a lot of judgments. I certainly had a lot, and I won't talk about them all. And we learned to forgive ourselves for those judgments. And one of my judgments was that I was a late bloomer on my spiritual path. And as I stand here before you today, what is most apparent to me is that I am still blooming. And it doesn't matter that I started later than I thought I should have. I am here, and they are here, and we are blooming. We are not here today because we're answering the call today. We have been answering the call or saying yes to Spirit since before we even knew what Science of Mind was or who Ernest Holmes was, right? We have said yes when we were scared. We have said yes when we didn't want to. We have said yes when we didn't even know what we were saying yes to. But what we learned in Prac 1 has taken root in Prac 2 so that we could blossom into the beautiful flower. See how much is shaking? That's trembling. And we are through the dark nights of the soul, and we experience many, and we still do. We still know at the end is the light, and that we are on the path to freedom and joy and abundance, even in the midst of those dark nights. We also know or have friends who will remind us that the universe is indeed for us, and that we are surrounded and enfolded by unlimited blessings. In a poem by Mary Oliver, which I actually stole from Linda Watson this weekend, in her poem, The Pawns, she writes, "Still what I want in my life is to be willing to be dazzled, to cast aside the weight of facts and maybe even float above a little this difficult world. I want to believe I am looking into the white fire of a great mystery. I want to believe that the imperfections of the world are nothing, that light is everything, and that it is more than the sum of each flawed blossom rising and fading." And I do. We say yes to this call to live the life of a practitioner, and just as that flower answered that call to bloom in the red rock, we say yes to blooming even when the soil around us seems rocky. And so we go in light, and we bloom in that light. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kim. That was gorgeous. So we're going to begin the honoring of our practitioner graduates now, and we will proceed center by center in the order that's listed in the program. At least I believe that is so. And before the graduates come up, I will invite up to the platform the ministers and teachers of these beloved ones to welcome and acknowledge their graduates. And the names of all of the ministers and professors, teachers, instructors are in your program. And so Dr. Ken is going to join me in the fun. All right. And so to begin, the Center for Spiritual Living Carlsbad, ministers Reverend Debbie O'Donnell and Reverend Maddie Dobbs, and the instructors, please come forward. And at that time, the practitioners from that center can prepare to line up over here. As I call your center practitioners, you can move over to that place on the graduating practitioners, move over to that place right there. Perfect, you got it. So good. All right. You have. Here we go, Sharon Bagley. Salvador de Casas. Deirdre Emery. Lynn Guilfoyle. And I'd like to invite Dr. Christian to come up for this one as well, please. Annie Prescott. And Annie is going to be serving as a practitioner here at Seaside, so I wanted to get Dr. Christian into it too. And Deborah Reeves. And let's have the founders, graduating practitioners come and line up, and I'd like to welcome up to the front. I don't know if Dr. Arthur Chang is here. Reverend Stephen, you are. Would you like to come up? And I have a whole host of instructors here. Alvin Turner, Patricia Roach, Reverend Steve, Sandra Powell, Patricia Gentry, Ann Doherty, teaching assistant Phil Pomari. If any of you are here, come on up. All right. And here we go. Beatrice Blanco. The choreography is always dynamic in this time. Vincent Reed, come on up, Vincent. Beautiful. Congratulations. All right, we'd love to have the Harmony Center for Spiritual Living graduating practitioners line up. And coming to the front, Reverend Sean Kindorf, senior minister and instructor. All right, Anna Cacao. Joanne Elliott. You can go ahead down this way, darling. Mary Falvey. Janet Huber. Oops, sorry. Pat Richards. Mary Sampson. And Pat Sanchez. Beautiful. We'll ask the Hemet Center for Spiritual Living graduating practitioner, to come over there, and I welcome up to the front Reverend Diane Nocky, senior minister and instructor, and instructors Reverend Catherine McNamara and Reverend Frank Maitosa. All right, come on this way. So Chris Klein, come on up. Congratulations. And now I'd like to invite the graduating practitioners from Ohm Center for Spiritual Living. And coming up, Reverend Suzette Wehunt, Reverend Sharon Hudson. Yeah, we are. All right, Candace Nolan. And Gay Taubensee. and George Thorne. And now I'd like to invite up the online practitioner class of 2014, and coming up to the front, Reverend Dr. Christina Tillotson and Reverend Robert Brzezinski. Okay, good. Yeah, there you go. Jackie Anderson. Sherry Chasteen. Deborah Ellis. Joan Florian. Lori Lee. Debbie Oknischek. Kim Machen. Tamara Merrill. Timothy Rich. And before I announce the next graduate's name, I'd also like to invite up Reverends Ron Scott and Terry Turner to welcome her. Or Terry. Thank you, darling. So glad to see you. Waited a long time for that. Hi, Terry. Alpha Richards. Adina Reynolds. And Janet Ring. Wonderful. Congratulations, Christina. Thank you. We'll take that from you. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you, everyone. And now the Riverside Community Center for Spiritual Living, Reverend Lee McNeil Nash, Senior Minister, Reverend Jerry Hobby, Assistant Minister, and instructors, Jim Crump and Barbara Jean Yankee. And let's have the graduates come over to the side here. Dawn Bradley. Victoria Bomberry. And Danelle Jansen. Wonderful. So now we'll invite the Seal Beach Center for Spiritual Living graduates to come form at the bottom of the platform, and Reverend Josh Reeves is coming up. And instructors, Reverend Juanita Gardner and Sylvia Hungerford. Are you ready? Oh, how beautiful. Janice Guevara. April Ann McAllister. Way Nickerson. Leona Rustin. And Nicole von Atzingen. Thanks, Josh. And now, Universal Spirit Center, Reverend Kevin Busey, Senior Minister, instructors, Donna Girardi, teaching assistant, Virginia Flamenco. And our graduates, Mitch Alcorn. I want one hut too. And Sandra Weeder. Let's take a moment to congratulate all of our practitioner graduates. Nicely done. Nice. And I'd like to invite back up to the platform Reverend Jerry Hobby to do the blessing for our new practitioners.
And on behalf of our movement, we welcome you. You truly are a blessing, and we're looking forward to you and your healing presence touching the world. So I'm going to invite you right now to just turn within with me. And as we turn within, we just recognize that divine presence that is everywhere, in everything, and within everyone. But what I'm recognizing today is the love of God and the joy of God, the peace of God, showing up in a sacred and a most profound way, moving and fulfilling itself. And in this very moment, I know that that wonderful presence is alive right where I am. It is alive within this space, within each and every single person, but most especially, I know that it is alive within this practitioner class. And I know that they are a beneficial presence, that the energy of love, the peace that passeth all understanding, has already gone before and prepared the way. I know that their consciousness is primed and ready, and that the blessings of Spirit fulfills itself within them, through them, in unique, but I know that it is in practical ways, and that blessings overflow by right of consciousness, and that is the consciousness of love, overflowing and blessing the world. So what I know is that we're truly blessed. We are in great hands, and I'm just most grateful for this wonderful presence, this energy, this power that has already gone before and prepared the way. And so I know we're in good hands, and it is from this place here that I just release these words into that universal law, that sacred yes, knowing that it is already fulfilled. And if you're in agreement with me, please join me by simply saying, and so it is, amen.
I'll On the way to our next musical interlude, I want to take a moment to open the ministerial ceremony by which we acknowledge the completion of the training and the graduation of these 4 marvelous women. And I want to take a moment just to speak to them, and then I will introduce the singer and the song that they have chosen. So, Tricia and Jill and Myrna and Debbie, I have been your dean since December, which is not a very long time, and I want to tell you how much I appreciate the grace with which you received me, and I have loved this time with you. And I also deeply appreciate the fact that the one who has been your dean through all of your training is going to be speaking to you in a few minutes, and that is just exactly how it should be. It has been a joy to witness this part of the path that you've been on and to see the commitment and focus and movement toward the goal that you have walked. And I have known each one of you through your centers and have been able to witness firsthand the huge contribution that you have made to the places that you have served. And I know that that contribution is only going to expand and extend as you take on this new role as minister. I know that you are prepared for this step, that your vision is high, that your consciousness is well developed, and that you have already proven you can do a mighty work. This training was a mighty work. And not only have you fulfilled the extreme demands of this training program, the path, the classes, the papers, the internships, the service in your communities, and the telephone calls and the video conferences and everything that has been, you have fulfilled those. But you have also balanced this with your work in the world. For a couple of you with marriage, with all of you family. And so you have done an amazing job to expand to include your training and all of your life and to lift all of it up to a new high level. And I'm quite sure you're beginning to wonder how you did it. Your theme for this graduation, All of Me, expresses the total commitment of yourself and your life to this path. And in it is also the realization that Spirit has been using and will use every single thing that you are, every aspect of who and what you are, for the greater revelation of love and of good. So as you cross this threshold of graduation today, you surrender even more fully to the divine truth of your being and to living the life of God and serving the awakening of humankind. And that is profound. You have asked that one of your fellow ministerial students sing the song that expresses your theme and your commitment. The song is Everything, and it's for our ministerial graduates, but also our practitioner graduates as well. Let's welcome Carol Lotz.
Find me here and speak to me. I want to feel you. I need to hear you. You are the light that's leading me to the place where I find peace again. You are the strength that keeps me walking. You are the hope that keeps me trusting. You are the light unto my soul. You are my purpose. You're everything. And how can I stand here with you and not be moved by you? Would you tell me how could it be any better than this? Oh, you calm the storms and you bring me rest. You hold me in your hand. You won't let me fall. You still my heart, and you take my breath away. Will you take me in? Take me deeper now. And how can I stand here with you and not be moved by you? Would you tell me how could it be any better than this? 'Cause you're all I want, you're all I need, you're everything, you're everything, you're all I want, you're all I need, you're everything, you're everything, you're all I want, you're all I need, you're everything, you're everything, you're all I want, you're all I need, you're everything. And how can I stand here with you and not be moved by you? Oh, would you tell me how could it be any better, any better than this? Any better than this? Oh, you're everything. Woo! You're everything. Woo!
Wow. Thank you so much. Whew. That should, that should be the anthem for something. Thank you, Carol. That was powerful. So, it is my great honor to introduce to you the graduating ministerial class of 2014. And I will be inviting each of our graduates to come forward with her family and friends, who will place on them their stole or hood, signifying the new attainment of the certificate and master's degrees in spiritual consciousness. Dr. Ken will hand a diploma, and we all get to hug up here, and then graduates, please take your seat up here. And so, Tricia Burson Johnson. And she is joined She is joined by her mother, Reverend Dr. Clancy Blakemore, and her husband, Will Johnson. And joined by her brother and her sister and brother-in-law, Beverly and Kenny Janelle. Let's welcome Jill Clements. All right, so exciting. Whew. And joined by her husband, Harold Hinckley, and daughter and son, April Shaw and Russell Wilbert, here's Myrna Hurst. All right. And joined by her daughter and son, Brianna and Sean McDonald, and her senior minister, Dr. Christian Sorensen, Debbie McDonald. The tall bunch. Makes you look short. Nice. Each year, the students invite ministers and teachers who have inspired them through their time of their training to be involved with our program. And a very important spot is the selection of the minister who will give the call to ministry. And so this year, our 4 graduates could have no other person than, than the woman who is sitting up here, whose name I will say in a moment. And this is a very delightful moment for me because our roles have been reversed a number of times in this graduation. So Reverend Catherine served as the Dean of Holmes Institute, the San Diego Regional Center, from June 2006 to November 2013. and she is responsible for bringing the program to its current level of excellence. Under her care and guidance, 72 new ministers were brought into being. No. And she is currently serving as the senior minister of the Center for Spiritual Living, Temecula Valley, where she, yes? Okay, full acknowledgement. Okay. Where she is once again loving, leading, and serving with excellent commitment and joy. Let us welcome Reverend Catherine Economo.
It's really kind of fun when the roles get reversed. Transitions sometimes aren't easy, but this one has been so powerful and beautiful and easy for me after loving this program and working on this event for so many years. 7 that I was the dean, but then I worked on this graduation from the moment that Reverend Alice and I started it, and 14 years ago, actually. And so I never knew it was so fun. I like this. This is fun. And so what an honor and a pleasure it is to be with you here today to speak about and to these 4 beloveds of my heart. And in the presence of such wisdom, many of my teachers, and such great experience sitting here, as I was preparing for this, I will admit it, I was nervous. I got nervous, and I speak a lot now, and I don't really get nervous. And so I wanted to know what that was about. And so I was trying to walk through the day and figure out what that was about, and I was trying to think if it's sitting in front of my beloved colleagues here and speaking in front of them, and it wasn't that. And maybe I thought it was because Dr. Ken was going to be here, and I love you, and it wasn't that. What I realized what it was is it's how much I love these women. And it's how much I want to do you proud. And so here we go. I am absolutely honored that you chose me, and I'm still in awe. But I know that we have traveled a long path together. And I want to speak first to them, a little bit about them. It's been a long, interesting journey for some of us together, yes? Yes. And so the theme of this ceremony, all of me, is quite appropriate for this graduating class. It speaks on multiple levels to the journeys that they've been on for the past number of years. One of them was in school with me for a little bit, in the dark ages, a long, long time ago. And I spent time meditating and contemplating the theme and these women. And what I'd like for you to know about them is that each of them, it's an interesting moment. It's when a class comes together and congeals, and there's a theme to the class. And these 4 ladies have 2 things in common. One of them is this: each of them had really wonderful reasons not to go into ministry. Each of them did. They did. They had highly successful careers. They had families. They had fulfilling ministries already set up. They were participating as main components of their communities already. They are highly accomplished. Let me tell you, they are a sight to behold. They are highly accomplished women. They are doers, and they got a lot done. But still, there is something that wasn't satisfied in them. It wasn't fulfilled. And one by one, the reasons not to go into ministry fell away. And I believe I would sit with people who would be called to come into the school of ministry, and I would say the same thing to them, and I may have said it to a few of you in the audience here. Don't do it. I believe the same thing about ministry that I think about marriage, that you don't do it unless you can't not do it. That it's not worth it if there's something within you that can be fulfilled, that can be fully expressed in some other way, then you should do that. But yet, for so many, for the ministers sitting here, for the ministerial graduates sitting here, and I know probably for some of you sitting in blue and purple, there's something in there that can't not do it. And so that's the truth of these ladies. They've worked hard. They've completed all their assignments, all their requirements, and I'll tell you, it's a big program. 96 credits. Is it 98 now? 98 credits. A lot of work. And they've opened to a new expression and understanding of who they are. Once again, they had to go deep and meet themselves on a level that was deeper than they knew. And I can tell you, each one of them did that in their own time, in their own way. It's been a powerful path to behold. It's taken all of who they are to get to this point. And then you get to this plateau and you look back over your history, over your life, and you start to see that it makes sense, that everything we've done in our past has informed this moment. It has gotten us here, to this moment, and to where we need to go next. It has, our paths up till now, everything that we have been, has supported us in getting to the moment of beginning. And so here we are on this great day of celebration, and I want to just breathe the joy and the celebration of this. Here you are sitting on this stage with those hoods and that stole that you worked so hard for. You've done it. But the theme, all of me. The theme, all of me, it's a little prophetic. Because stepping into ministry will take all that you have been, all that you are, and all that you ever will be to bring forth the ministry of your heart and that which is calling you forward. Each of these ladies are extremely creative, and they have such creative ideas and dreams of how they will bring ministry into the world. And it's exciting. They are a bridge. You are a bridge from the old to the new. You stepped into this program 2 names ago. It had a different name. You stepped in a different organization. It was a different organization. They are stepping out in a completely different organizational culture than what they entered into. They have ridden the wave of transformation and of change, guided by that deep desire, by that call, that deep desire to serve, knowing that that is the most important thing and everything else will work itself out, and it has. And so you step out into this new day, into this new moment in the life of this organization as beacons of light and truth, steeped in your call, ready to allow for this next unfoldment to happen. And so Ernest Holmes, in this thing called You, in 1948 said, "The world has reached a dramatic climax in its history. It has unlocked so much of the physical resources of the universe that unless this enormous power is used constructively, it can well destroy it. The world stands on a brink of a great abyss, a terrific regression, or if it choose, faces the horizon of a glorious day, a new age. You enter ministry in this time when it is sorely needed. There are so many who are waking up to a new realization that there is more to life than all the pain and suffering, the violence and the hatred that is alive in the world today. There is a new call being heard, and that call is enough. People are waking up and saying, enough, enough. Something else has to be true here. And so as a minister, it's our job to meet that call with the truth that this is a spiritual life. And so this is my call to you. I call you to live the spiritual life. I call you to release attachment to outside falsities and live clearly from your spiritual priorities. That you remember that this life is a life of goodness and of joy. That you practice the presence in all things and you see God in all situations and every experience. And in those difficult moments when you cannot see it, that you stand so strong in your faith that you connect with the part of you that can know. You are an example of this philosophy in action, and people will learn more from being in your presence and observing you than anything you will ever say. It is in your certainty that God is in and as all things that those around you will find peace. I call you to step boldly into the role of minister and to remember that you are a spiritual leader. Leave the organization to others. Pray people in who can do it and let it go. Okay? Give me a nod. Let it go. I know them really well. The time has come for you to fully embrace who you are as a minister and make this the priority. Your relationship with God is first. Your practice is first. Your ongoing work of deepening in the knowing of the truth of your being is first, and everything else comes after. Genuine seekers fall away from churches and centers if they do not receive a real experience of God, but people will travel far and wide to be in the presence of someone who is in the presence. I call you to be the presence. And all those who can be served by you will find you. They will find you. I call you to be a space of love and acceptance. Let nothing sway you from this. Jesus taught that the greatest command of the commandments was to love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. And the second was love your neighbor as yourself. This is the foundation of the work we do as ministers. We create a space for love. So love. Love freely, love completely, love fully. Simply love. I'm reminded by the quote of the spiritual giant that we lost this week, Maya Angelou, bless her on her journeys, who said, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And so I encourage you to create a space where when people step into it, they feel loved. They feel the truth of their being, and that will support them in transforming their lives. I call you to be a place of transformation, that you use your words for creating power and peace and freedom. Through your speaking and your teaching and your counsel, transformation and healing happens just because you see so clearly the truth of those who are before you that they can know it for themselves. I call you to listen to your inner voice, that inner connection to the infinite spirit, to bring forth your true, authentic voice, to surrender to your own path and to trust that guidance. I call you to be a gateway. You are a gateway to healing. You are a gateway to empowerment, a gateway to peace. It is in your absolute knowing that people are drawn unto you, and in your presence, they find their own freedom. And I call you to great joy. This path, though, let's say it's an interesting one. Sometimes it's a lonely one. But it is filled with great joy. And I can tell you from experience, it's a whole lot more fun than we even know. It's so fun. There is great joy here for you. It is the truth of this life that you are saying yes to. This is a blessed path, and you are blessed upon it. And again, I turn to the words of Ernest Holmes. And so this is a little bit longer, so stay with me. The hand of eternal progress is brushing the cobwebs from the corridors of time and is again revealing to the human race the mysteries of being. As there is nothing new under the sun, the searchlight of truth is bringing to light only what has been known to the few in all generations. The time has now come when the few must become the many. The whole world, from the least to the greatest, must know the truth, so that man may understand the great laws that govern his life. He must learn to control his own destiny, to heal his own body, and bring happiness to his own soul. Ignorance must vanish, and understanding must be ushered in. Man is no longer to be governed by anything outside himself. Creeds, doctrines, churches, institutions, organizations, governments are all being changed to give place to the realization of the individual. There is a power in and through all that is working this great transformation. All that will not measure up to the standard must fall by its own weight. All that is in line with the truth must still prosper. The time is at hand. We are in the greatest age of all history. We are in the age of the unifying of all people and all things to the ever-present one. The temple not made with hands is now being silently built by the emancipated souls of this planet. You are the emancipated souls of this planet. You have come to do great work, to love, to speak, to teach, and to heal. We are so grateful that you have said yes, and this new age unfolds because of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Our graduates have elected one of their own to answer the call to ministry. She was wholeheartedly nominated, and she wholeheartedly accepted. And so, speaking on behalf of the graduates here with us from New Vision Center for Spiritual Living in Phoenix, let's welcome Jill Clements.
I don't know about that nominating thing. They all just turned around and walked away, and I was the last one standing. But I am honored. Thank you, ladies, for this honor today. Catherine stole most of my talk, but that's all right. That's all right. I'm going to do it anyway. I am reminded as I listen to the practitioners today and everything that goes forward into practitioner training, I'm reminded of mine. And that first day of Pract 1, as we're in class and we're hearing about the transformative process that we have entered into, the choice that we have made in our lives to live as this consciousness forever. And at the end of that first 3-hour session, Reverend Catherine McDowell, where are you, my love, said to us in that lovely voice of hers, "So, how do you feel?" And we ran around the table, and I remember very clearly how I felt, much like I feel today. It's like a roller coaster. When you leave the station in the car, you know you can't get out, right? And you hit the chain, and the car starts getting pulled up that first hill, and you might hit that little plateau where you can see around really well, and everything is clear as can be. And then what happens? You drop down, and you're off on this journey. Well, folks, I got an e-ticket. And I'm doing it again because it happened in practitioner training, and it's happening now again in this ministerial training as we wrap this up and go through with our graduation today. And just like that car that we get into in that roller coaster where they strap us in with the bar and the seat belts and all the other safety gear that they do for us, that car, I'm safe, and that car is going to stay on the track. No matter how many times it feels like it's going to fly off into space when you go around one of those curves, we're going to be safe and stay right in that car. And unlike that roller coaster ride that ends in just a few moments, this ride goes on forever. And as Reverend Kathy and Catherine both said, our theme is all of me. And we had a visioning for this graduation in the spring at our spring retreat. And that visioning revealed a vision statement that came forth saying, "For every part of my life and my ministry, all of me is required. The dark, the light,
the good, and the seemingly bad. It is all valid and required. And when I asked my fellow students recently what this meant to them individually, I got a sense of immersion. No more compartmentalizing of my life. Authenticity. Committing to serve God. No part of my life outside of ministry. Amen. And and on the cover photo of the drop and the ripples, that sort of came forward then from that vision statement and the all of me. And that represents the drop falling into the pond. And when it hits the pond, it's fully immersed in that water. And that is, it can't change its mind as it's falling and part of it go a different direction. It all goes in the water and it's all immersed in that. Just like we are immersed in our ministries fully and completely. And the ripples, of course, are our individualized ministries going forth out into the world, an expression of us, our vision of who we have come here to be, all of me. We have come through the same phenomenal educational program with the same outstanding teachers, mentors, and guides. Yet each of us has received a unique call of spirit, a unique interpretation of this science of mind, and it is as we teach unity expressed in multiplicity. And I have noticed over the years that each of the graduating classes has a theme, a thing, a descriptor. Reverend Catherine touched on it a little bit, and I think ours is absolutely change. We have seen a great deal of changes here, and we have learned to be okay in that unknowing. We have learned to trust. We have learned to build our faith. As Reverend Catherine alluded to, what has changed? Well, we were all trained and licensed practitioners under United Centers for Religious Science. And in about 2011, the United Centers and the International Centers came back together after about a 50-year split. And we have integrated and become one, once again, one organization under the name of Centers for Spiritual Living. Yes. And our school has a brand new name just this year. We all entered school under Holmes Institute, and we are graduating from the Centers for Spiritual Living School of Spiritual Leadership. And then we all entered a school also under those lovely wings of Dean Economo. And when we heard that she had taken the call to go to the Temecula Church as the senior spiritual leader there, our first question was, well, what about us? And then we heard this beautiful noise of Reverend Dr. Kathy Hearn is coming forward to be our dean, and how blessed we were to have her come forward with her experience to be our dean. The Asilomar experience. In the ranks of the Holmes Institute, the walk in the meadow, the paneling in August at Asilomar has been legendary, mythical about that experience. And that ended last year. Same question, what about us? And for a while this year, we didn't know what about us. And that question was on our hearts a little, but we had enough changes that we were now trusting. So, and I want to thank Dr. Kristen Hawkins, because last year at Asilomar, they did a ceremony after the students had done their paneling for any minister who wanted to walk the meadow again or who had not walked the meadow. And I asked her if she was going to be doing that, and she said, well, no, why would I? That wasn't my experience. And she shared with me how her experience was at the Founders Church and what a beautiful expression that was for them at their graduation. And it gave me a whole new perspective on how this could work a different way. And now the Centers for Spiritual Living in Santa Rosa have stepped forward to welcome all of the graduates of the Holmes Institute in for our paneling in August. So we will be going there. And then personally, we have each experienced growth and expansion in our lives. We have seen births in our family. We have lost loved ones. We have seen relationships and friendships come and go. We've seen children going off to college and children graduating from college, and we have each been transformed during our tenure at this school. Each of us has had our own path to walk in our own time. Some of us took a time out in the middle and then came back. Some of us have raced through. And yet, the four of us here today, Debbie, Myrna, Tricia, and Jill, are graduating from the Holmes Institute Centers for Spiritual Living School of Spiritual Leadership, class of 2014. So in answering this question of why all of the change, why now, why this time in my life, Tricia's life, Debbie and Myrna's life, why now? I was called to our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes' writing in The Science of Mind. Creation is eternally going on. Change is always taking place within that which is changeless. Forms appear and disappear in a medium which is itself formless. And these words bring comfort to us whenever we're in fear or confusion about what's happening around us and how we can't explain what that is. We just simply know that God is changeless and is our anchor, the rock within us, that solidarity. The four of us, however, have been forever changed. And tonight, as we step off of this stage into the void, into the gap, into that in-between time when we are no longer students at Holmes Institute, and yet we are not ministers. We are not licensed yet. And it is this time over the summer that we are promised that we will continue our unfoldment. And it's really figuring out who we are now that we're no longer students as we get prepared to step into our ministry. And just like the butterfly that emerges from its cocoon, ready to fly, we will emerge in August with our wings dry and ready to fly. And I know that we will all be at peace through this time, for we have been prepared. We have been prepared at the Holmes Institute and the School of Spiritual Leadership. We have been nurtured and spiritually fed. We have deepened our consciousness and strengthened our connection to the divine source within us, and we are prepared and ready for whatever forms may appear or disappear during this time and later into our ministries, for we have been prepared to be still and know that irrespective of the appearances, all is God. And I would like to, on behalf of the senior class of 2014, simply say yes. We accept the call.
And now to do a blessing for our new ministers, let's welcome up Reverend Guy Williams he's Senior Minister of Hilltop Center for Spiritual Living. My words are going out.
Good afternoon, friends and family. Beloved colleagues in this order of practitioners. I'm on? I am on. So let me start again. Good afternoon, friends and families, beloved colleagues of the Mystic Order of Practitioners, and my brothers and sisters in ministry. It is a distinct privilege for me to give a blessing, because to you, Trish, Jill, Myrna, and Debbie, a blessing is so much more than a response to a sneeze. It is the conferring of rights and privileges, duties and responsibilities. It is the bestowing of mystic graces and powers to assist you on your journey. And so, I invite my brothers and sisters to extend their hands and assist me as we bless them. In this moment, in this place, made sacred by our consciousness, we evoke calling in and stepping into the presence of those great saints and sages of all times. We call upon Melchizedek, Patanjali, the saints and sages of all, from St. Peter to Dr. Martin Luther King, all who have passed from this plane and all who walk as lights. The many faces of the One are here present, flowing through us to you. May this One always shine its face upon you, being the effulgence of light and glory in the days of high resolve, and a pillar of fire in those dark nights. May it be unto you always a place of comfort, source and supply, wisdom and guidance. May you always know that it is never you that do the work, but the divine presence in you, acting as you. May your mantra always be, in God, all things are possible. And may all beings be filled with light, peace, and happiness, and may your ministry be a quickening unto this. May all beings be filled with light, peace, and happiness, and may your ministry be a quickening unto this. May all beings be filled with light, peace, and happiness, and may your ministry be a quickening unto this. Loka samasta sukhinau bhuvantu. Loka samasta sukhinau bhuvantu. Loka samasta sukhinau bhuvantu. May it be so, and so it is.
So it's a great joy for me now to reintroduce you to a man with whom I've had the honor to work very closely. When Jill talked about the integration of our two organizations, International and United Centers for Spiritual Living, this wonderful man and I had the opportunity to work together on it, to marshal the effort, travel around and talk about it, and by golly, it happened, and that's a great joy. And so, as the spiritual leader of our organization, he travels internationally and around the U.S. to cast a powerful vision. I watch him inspire people everywhere he goes, to love and inspire all of us and to represent our organization both in the U.S. and in other places. He's doing a marvelous job as our spiritual leader. I'm so glad he has a number of years yet to go. And he's here to share a few personal remarks and then to do the official conferring of degrees. Here is our spiritual leader, Dr. Ken Gordon.
I only wish my wife, Dr. Deborah, would speak so highly of me as you do. First off, before I get going, I have to let you know how honored I am to be here and to have been invited here. Dr. Kathy said that I came as a personal favor for her, and that's sort of true. I came because I come when she calls me. It's that simple. Let me check my higher power. What do you think? So it works perfectly. But I'm so honored to be here. I'm so honored to be part of this graduation ceremony, part of this magnificent event that's taking place. And I'm absolutely stunned at the crowd that's here and the amount of pomp and circumstance that's involved. This is spectacular. I think this is one of our better practices. And I thank Dr. Christian and his staff and the church at Seaside. And I cannot move on to the ministers without making a couple of remarks about the practitioners. And I make those remarks from my very, very deepest part of my heart, recognizing and knowing that every minister also is a practitioner. And I simply say that a minister's job is to teach people to treat. and that you are the effect and that we are the effect of the teaching that comes before us. Therefore, we are in direct lineage with Dr. Holmes himself. And I want to tell you that it is your consciousness, it is your mind, it is your beauty, it is your love, it is your truth, it is your knowledge, and it is your sacredness that allows this teaching to continue to grow and expand. So thank you for stepping forward. And as for you, it's so wonderful to see the four of you and to know that you're stepping forward and stepping into this thing that's called the calling in ministry. Reverend Catherine said that you are on the crest of the wave. I agree, you are the crest of the wave, but you are also the wave. This is a teaching, it is a teaching based on evolution. Not Darwinian evolution where they believe that the form creates the consciousness, but it is an evolution that believes that consciousness creates form, and that before anything comes the thought before it, that precedes it. What we believed and thought about yesterday is our experience today, and what we believe and think about today will be our experience tomorrow. And Dr. Holmes made it very, very clear that our children are a perfect example of this. That our children and the generations that pass on have always of the greatest consciousness, greater consciousness than the parents that preceded them. And if you have children, you might find that sometimes hard to believe. And yet it proves to be true decade in, decade out, decade in, decade out. So what you are is you are the evolution of this teaching. What you are is you are the wave to move. And I'm so glad that you're so used to change. Because we're only beginning. Because the key is that only one thing can stop the evolution of consciousness and stop the evolution of humanity, and that is the human ability to be able to stay where they're at and not move forward. And I will share with you that we have done that for far too many years. Not just we as a movement or as an organization, but we as a society and we as a people. And that all goodness comes from that openness and that opening to that change. Reverend Kevin opened us today with the treatment, and he gave you some very, very good advice. And what he said was, everyday surrender. And that is the truth and the secret of my ministry, and I assume, therefore, it would be the secret of everyone's. At least everyone who I like. But the honest truth is that your life will be constantly in change. You have touched a power and you have touched an attracting force that draws you to it. And you might, at your own jeopardy and will, decide that you're going to stand back and fight it, which you have not done, which you are stepping into. But I will tell you that this power loves you so much that it will pull you through cheesecloth to have you. And so I warn you right now to take that practice of surrender openly and honestly, and do not condemn the change that happens in your life, because your life is just beginning to change in a dramatic way right now. And what it will do is it will guide you, it will pull you, and it will lead you to the greatness of who you always have been, to your authenticity, to your actualization, and to the calling of your purpose here on life. And for that, I am eternally grateful. For it is individuals such as you four that will transform this world, that will awaken humanity, and that will create a world that works for all. So bless you and thank you. Now, in order to move forward so that we can finish this in one day, which was also a demonstration of Reverend Kevin's treatment when he opened us, I would like now to do this, except that I need my help from Dr. Kathy to point out where I am on here.
Right here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I thought that's where I was. So I ask the graduating practitioners and the graduating ministers to please stand. This really is the time that we've been waiting for. Please, I work alone. So, by the power of God and the authority of the centers of spiritual living vested in me, I do hereby declare the official completion of your training and the achievement of your new spiritual titles of ministers and practitioners. Ministers and practitioners of truth. You may move your tassels. And congratulations to you all. Know that you're loved, honored, and blessed.
Beautiful. We're getting ready for a song for all of our graduates. Here's our wonderful community choir led by Sylvia Aguilera.
Light of the world, I am called to be the light of the world. Light of the world, light of the world, I am called to be the light of the world. Light of the world, I am called to be. Oh, 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 hey, hey, oh. I am called to be. What will my answer be to the Spirit's call? What will my answer be? Will I give my all? Light of the world, I am called to be. Oh, 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 hey, yeah. I am called to be light of the world. Light of the world. Light of the world. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I am called to be the light of the world. What will my answer be to the Spirit's call? What will my answer be when I give my all? Light of the world, yeah, light of the world, I am called to be. Yeah, 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 oh, light of the world, light of the world, oh,
That's Sherry O'Hara as our soloist. Thank you so much. Wonderful. All right. So we're really close to the end. Yay. A wonderful reception is being prepared for you, so I invite you to adjourn. It's a good thing because my voice is gone. To move out to the garden if you would like to meet our graduates and generally fellowship. And if you are a licensed practitioner and you have heard the call today, something's moved in your heart about walking the path of service, I invite you to join me this Wednesday night right here at Seaside from 6:30 to 8 for a School of Spiritual Leadership open house. And it's an opportunity to explore the path of ministry. Kathy Phelan, our registrar, and I would love to meet with you and just explore that with you and talk to you about our training program because you were born to be the light of the world. So come on down. And if you're not interested in attending or can't attend, but you're interested in the School of Ministry, please sign up at the table out there, the Holmes Institute table. So I want to do a few thank yous, and that, first of all, to Rhonda Tretzvin, who has assisted me incredibly through this service. And also Tricia Burson Johnson, who held our hands and supported us in how to do this. Yay. Jan Hartman and all the Seaside practitioners and the Prac 1 students, we thank you so much. We've got a number of ministerial students from the School of Spiritual Leadership in service today, so we acknowledge and thank all of you. Kathy Phelan, our registrar. Reverend Fran Lascotas Christ and her entire music team, thank you so much. Margaret Owens and Carol Lotz, yay. Our staff angels, Linda Amerson and Joanne Millison. And our fabulous musicians, Troy Jennings, Lynn Willard, Pat Burke, Tom Bishop, yay. Sound and video, Ed Reeves, Melanie Bennett, and Tim Griffin, thank you. And set up, and I'm hoping clean up, Chris Bisson and Ken Brown. And also all of the Seaside volunteers that came to support us today. Let's acknowledge them. Thank you so much. All right. So we're just about to have our benediction, and after the benediction, the ministers and the practitioners will recess out. We ask you to wait for all of the folks in robes to pass by before you move, all right? And we'll begin with with our graduates here and the people on the platform, and then our ministers, and then our practitioners, and then all the rest of us, all right? And so to do our benediction, it's a great joy to welcome up to the platform somebody who's so loved here and such a part of Seaside and has been so instrumental in the creation of this ministerial training program, Dr. Alice Bandy.
I think I'll give about a 20-minute talk. Would that be all right? I do have a few things I want to say. One is, let's have a nice round of applause for our wonderful, elegant, beautiful dean, Dr. Kathy Hearn. And I want to extend my love to our ministerial graduates. I love you all. And I also want to say to you, there have been so many words said today, glorious words. I want to tell you that we're all here for you. And as you move into your ministries, you can call on any one of us. I know I speak for everyone present here, that we're here for you. And you'll get out there and you'll say, who's here for me? And I want you to remember, you can call any one of us at any time. And to our beautiful practitioners, so much love on your path. It's hard to know when you're in that seat how much we all love you, but we all do, so much. And we look forward to your great work. And I want to say something else here that I think is kind of important, maybe it's the only thing that hasn't been said. And that is, today we honor these beautiful spiritual leaders, but for those of you who are not sitting in a robe today, I want to say to you, take away from today something for you, something for your life, something that you bring into your heart and remember that it's really a game that we're all playing together. And whether you're in these robes today and you've made this level of commitment or not, as you go into your personal lives, remember that we're all the light of the world. We're all counting on your love. We're all in this together. And I hope that you will join us. You'll be part of the great community of man that makes a difference because those of us who are here today understand these words, and there are so many that don't. So touch your neighbor, do a kindness, be the one who knows, be the one that remembers. Let's all do this together. And so together we join in consciousness one more time, stepping into that beautiful inner place, stepping into that realization of truth, and recognizing and knowing that this is a time, the time of greatness for all of humanity. This celebration has been one mere sparkle of that, but it is a time in which there is a great possibility before us to lift up, to rise up, to be the ones who know. And so I know that as we allow this ceremony to come to a close, the great light of the world continues, the blessing overflows, the great gratitude, the love that's been expressed here multiplies tenfold, and we move out into a higher consciousness because we have taken the time, been the ones, joined here together in this ceremony, in this sense of grace and joy and celebration for those we love and those we have yet to meet. So for this and so much more, let us all be so grateful, to be grateful in our hearts, to say thank you within, and to allow this ceremony to be complete, but to know that the journey continues. Thank you, God, and so it is.
One, two.